Hello, everyone. We want to welcome you to our webinar today. Joining us from Sana Commerce is Alyssa, and Alyssa will be presenting on Diversify Your Revenue Streams. And before I pass it over to Alyssa to cover on this topic, I just want to let you know that we are recording this webinar as well as all of our webinars, and it will be posted to our on-demand webinar library for you to review and share with anyone. And if you do have any questions along the way, please feel free to type them into the questions box and we will get them answered for you at the end of our session. So now I'm going to pass it on over to Alyssa to kick off our presentation.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction, Angie, and welcome to everyone. Thank you for taking time today and meeting with us. Our session this afternoon will be about diversifying your revenue streams, specifically with an online channel. And this is actually a challenge that's at the top of the minds for a lot of organizations right now, especially those who traditionally relied heavily on offline sales and are now seeing a lot of disruptions in their business thanks to COVID. Ultimately, the lesson here will be that you can't expect one channel to do all of it for you, especially if you're still just operating offline or don't have transactional capabilities online yet because you just have a catalog. You're limiting yourself to just the limited potential of that one channel. Now, when you pair it with another, for example, e-commerce, you now benefit from the opportunities presented by both revenue streams, separately as individual channels and combined for an omni-channel approach. So we'll dive into all of this and how you can launch an online revenue stream if you haven't already in the next 30 or so minutes. You ready? Let's do it. So first, before we kick off, just a quick introduction of myself. As Angie mentioned, my name is Alyssa Vardashvili. I'm a channel development representative at Sana Commerce, and I've been with the company for over a year now. I work very closely with Innovia and the rest of our fantastic partner network. And basically, I use my knowledge of the e-commerce industry to work with B2B and B2C companies to create a business case where they really understand the value that e-commerce and specifically integrated e-commerce could mean for their growth, efficiency, and customer satisfaction. So today we'll be diving into the numbers, how e-commerce impacts revenue, efficiency, and customer relationships, the risk, how not investing in an online revenue stream early enough puts you behind your competitors, the vision, how complete digital strategy can spell long-term business success, and last but not least, the fix, the benefits of investing in an ERP integrated e-commerce solution. As I mentioned when we looked at the agenda, we're going to start with some numbers to give you an overview that's more concrete, a good view of the landscape we're dealing with here, what it could mean for your business, and importantly, what opportunities, revenue, and otherwise are presented. The three main opportunities we want to highlight today are how an online revenue stream does the following three things. Number one, it improves the efficiency of your processes, whether that's sales, order management, etc. Two, how it enables a fast return on investment in addition to driving significant additional revenue. And three, how it improves your customer experience and service, thus the customer relationship itself. So let's see what this means in a little bit more detail. Let's talk about efficiency. Firstly, the data tells us that on average, the vast majority of organizations save a massive amount of time and money by investing in e-commerce. This stems from things like reduced order errors, which as you can see is true for 72% of organizations, more efficient processes, and an online channel that frees up sales reps' time so they can focus on other priorities like lead generation or giving a little personal attention to some important accounts. One fun fact I want to share is one that really tells you why order error reduction matters. According to our own research, order errors result in at least a 25% reduction in efficiency, productivity, and sales. And this is true for approximately 75% of B2B organizations. It's pretty easy to see, scanning these statistics, that investing in e-commerce at all has some serious advantages. When you pursue an ERP integrated e-commerce approach, you can benefit from all of this and more, but we'll dive into that just a little bit later. For right now, let's look at the opposite end of the spectrum, not what you're saving, but rather the timeline for a positive ROI and profitability with B2B e-commerce. And just to let you know, the data source for this slide and the next one for reference is the Digital Transformation Report from 2018. Any B2B organization looking to make a significant investment to accelerate their business success hopes to see ROI as quickly as possible. Their optimism appears to be well-founded based on the data we're seeing, but even these businesses seem to even slightly underestimate the true power of e-commerce. In fact, after investing in B2B e-commerce, 91% of organizations surveyed saw return on investment within 2 years, even though only 87% expected to. What's even more promising? 64% of respondents surveyed in our digital transformation and B2B e-commerce report saw ROI in less than 1 year. That's pretty cool. By now, it should be pretty obvious that letting customers buy online when they previously couldn't, or when it was previously too challenging to do so, will not just mean fast ROI, but will also naturally result in more revenue as it becomes cheaper to service previously offline buyers online and as you acquire new customers online. Finally, let's talk about what truly matters, your customers. The fact of the matter is that buyers across B2B and B2C are all accustomed to and largely prefer buying online. Not offering them the ability to engage with you how and where they prefer already puts you at a disadvantage, but their expectations are even more demanding. It's not enough anymore to just throw your offline catalog on the web. B2B buyers give preference to vendors who offer online sales functionalities. When evaluating alternatives during the buying process, more than a third of the buyers we surveyed considered the ability to track orders online, to order through an online sales portal, to manage returns online, and to pay online, the top factors that would persuade them to choose a vendor over another. Among those vendors, the top 10 see these buyers making repeat purchases monthly, weekly, and even sometimes daily. This recurring revenue can mean a massive boost to your bottom line over time, and all it takes is a strong online customer experience. So here I'd like to ask the audience our first and only poll question of today. How would you rate your customer satisfaction with your online sales channel? As you think about this in your own business, here are some possible answers you might consider. Would you say that your customers are dissatisfied because you constantly have customers call in to place their orders? Would you say that some of their needs are met, but it's still lacking personalized functionality? Or, best case scenario, would you say your customers constantly use your online sales channel with ease? So if you have your answer in mind, just keep that in mind and we'll move forward. So now we've covered the numbers that matter. You should by now have a good overview of what opportunities you're looking at when it comes to e-commerce. So now let's look at the other side, the risk, but not the risk of e-commerce. No, not that. I'm talking about the risk of not investing, and most importantly, not investing soon enough. With e-commerce, you need to act short-term and immediately. So many buyers already demand not just e-commerce, but really sophisticated and feature-rich B2B e-commerce. You're basically already behind if you don't have e-commerce. And if you're not planning to, you face some of the issues you see here, which are the top concerns of organizations when it comes to not making the investment. 16% think the impact would be minimal, but between 20 and 35 expect decreased revenue, loss of customers, a lost competitive edge, or maybe all of these things. But that's not all, because when you choose not to invest in e-commerce, you also miss out on another opportunity that's pretty ripe for the taking, given that you're already selling offline. The opportunity is omni-channel, and it allows you to meld together your online and offline experiences for a stronger and more seamless overall customer experience. But of course, you can't do that if you don't have an online channel. Let's look at the missed omni-channel opportunity a bit more closely before we move on. As I just mentioned, omni-channel embraces offline as well as online channels for a seamless experience wherever customers may be. This opportunity, however, is totally lost on businesses who choose to not properly invest in e-commerce. And here's why. Only 3% of B2B buyers would prefer to only purchase offline. 52% of B2B organizations feel their web store is the most important component of their omni-channel strategy. Omni-channel strategies in B2B result in better customer experience for 10% of buyers, increased customer retention for 26%, and increased sales for 64% of buyers. That's not just more revenue, but it means happier customers that come back again and again. In fact, businesses with a strong omni-channel approach retain an average of 89% of their clients. That's pretty astounding. And most B2B organizations are recognizing this and leveraging e-commerce as a means to ultimately also master omni-channel. In fact, in a 2020 report, PwC found that the number of companies investing in the omni-channel experience has jumped from 20% to more than whopping 80% in the last decade. So if you don't have e-commerce, omni-channel isn't possible, and you instantly put yourself in that bottom 20%. So now we've talked about what you need to do, why you should launch e-commerce now, and how that opens up doors for future omni-channel opportunities. But your work really doesn't stop there. Your e-commerce strategy should include regular enhancements and improvements to your web store as market and customer needs change. Too many organizations are thinking too short term, maybe even just about getting a web store live and nothing else beyond that. As many as half of B2B organizations, according to data from the Tension in B2B Customer Experience, published by eConsultancy in association with SAP, aren't thinking about their digital strategy beyond 12 months ahead. But there's a big problem with this lack of long-term vision. What are you missing by thinking so short-term? Quite a few additional opportunities, actually. So what exactly do you miss by thinking too short-term? In addition to the long list we've already covered, you're not agile enough to keep up with the changes over time. This includes changes in your customers' needs. In fact, according to Walker's 2020 customer survey, 62% of companies are making tech investments specifically to meet the changing needs of customers. You lose out on opportunities that haven't yet presented themselves. On the right, you see data from our most recent digital transformation report. It shows that while 40% plus of B2B organizations saw the opportunity for new revenue streams, direct-to-consumer sales, or business model expansion as a direct result of e-commerce. However, an additional 25 to 30% expect to see that opportunity present itself in the future. Those businesses whose e-commerce strategies don't plan far enough ahead may miss out on the success if they don't play their cards right. So really the key takeaway here is that thinking short term lets you reap e-commerce's immediate benefits, but you may miss out on the long game type of wins if you don't continue to invest in your strategy. This is a nice quote, again from Walker's Customers 2020 survey, highlighting once more the importance of always thinking ahead, but with a focus on being anticipatory and proactive, not just reactive. We must be able to predict what the customer wants next. Today, it is more reactionary after the fact. In 2020 and beyond, customers will expect firms to be ahead of them, knowing what they need before they themselves have shown the need. The fact of the matter is that eventually, you'll not just have to keep up with them, but you'll also have to be one step ahead of your customers. Determining how fast is fast enough when it comes to your business's digital evolution will be a moving target. So I hope you're all ready for the challenge. We're now going to show you how you can make all of this, which may currently sound daunting, simple for your business to act on. So now we've gotten a pretty comprehensive overview of the opportunities and the risks with e-commerce and omni-channel and digitization. Now I want to show you how to make it simple and how you can do that with Sana Commerce. Here are a few more key numbers for you to help understand, firstly, why Sana works the way we do. Integrating e-commerce with your ERP results in some major benefits, including the ones you see here. So we do just that, and here's how. So setting the stage here for this explanation for the current B2B buying landscape, about 75% of B2B buying already takes place online, and that number is actually expected to grow 10% year over year. However, that system I'm talking about is still broken, with many buyers experiencing errors every 2 weeks. So that leads us to ask, why is this happening? This happens because mainstream e-commerce solutions simply cannot deliver the same convenience, reliability, and evolution to customers online as they've gotten used to receiving offline. This naturally leads to frustrations, errors, and disruptions, which ultimately damages the relationship that a business has worked hard to build with their customers. Why does this happen, you may ask? Well, it's because these types of solutions isolate your ERP system and e-commerce platform in silos, meaning that the data and functionality available to a customer in one is not available in the other. So therefore, what really sets Sana Commerce apart is that we make your ERP system and e-commerce platform work as one, thereby eliminating all of these silos and complexities that I mentioned. All data and functionality your customers have grown to expect is now available to them 24/7 from anywhere online. By offering your customers convenience, reliability, and consistent evolution, you're able to continue building relationships with customers that depend on you. And so not only will these loyal customers keep coming back, but they'll also bring referrals, allowing you to strategically grow your business. And so to summarize, as I mentioned, the differences here between mainstream e-commerce platforms and Sana is that all ERP data and functionality that's available to customers offline through the use of sales reps and call centers, phone and email, that's now available to the e-commerce platform in real time. And there's a single source of truth or data shared between the ERP system and e-commerce. And therefore, you only have to make changes once in the ERP system, and then the web store just naturally follows that. So it's really impactful. In terms of how Sana enables better efficiency, it's really all about automating your sales order and customer service process and reducing all the manual work that's currently wasting your team's time, your customers' patience, and the reliability of your service. Where previously your team had to spend time taking the order from the customer, validating it, and then manually hand keying it into the ERP, Sana automates that whole process. We often hear that reorders are huge for our customers, and that's actually a big area where Sana can save time for everyone involved. Lastly, when orders are coming directly from and into the ERP, there are fewer errors being made because the data that's pulling right now, it's pulling from all the logic in the ERP, whether we're talking about up-to-date inventory amounts or customer-specific pricing. In terms of how Sana enables more revenue and fast ROI, it's really all about the benefits that come from being readily available to service your customers at their convenience. That means you're able to cross and upsell along their buying journey, which otherwise may not happen through a traditional buying process through phone or email. We facilitate business growth and expansion in many ways, including changing business models, selling direct to consumer, launching new product assortments online, or opening additional web stores. Perhaps you've built a reputation in your specific geographical area, but now you can expand by opening yourself to a greater audience online. And of course, gone are the days that customers are limited to a Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. timeframe for placing orders. Now they're able to conduct business with you, whether they're new to your site or a long-standing customer, and be able to get that done on their time, whether that's late at night, early in the morning, or maybe on the weekend. Because Sana is so integrated to your ERP, we enable an improved customer experience because we're basically taking the same experience they've been used to receiving offline from sales reps and your call center, and now bringing all of that same data and functionality straight to their fingertips from anywhere online. We're able to deliver a personalized experience by showing them their product segments, pricing based on their own pricing agreements, and experiences based on customer data. And of course, the ability to review all previous orders and invoices, regardless of how the order was placed. So now we've gotten a pretty comprehensive overview of the opportunities and the risks with e-commerce and omni-channel and digitization. Before we wrap up, I wanted to take a moment to highlight some final interesting stats and share a resource that may be handy if you're thinking you may want to invest in an e-commerce solution in the near future. Sana Commerce recently surveyed 107 global B2B and B2C customers, including small businesses, mid-sized organizations, and large enterprises. Our data tells us that an integrated Sana Commerce web store has a positive impact on customers' efficiency of processes, cost savings, revenue, conversion rates, and customer retention rate. In addition to the 21% increase in e-commerce conversion, another 14% reported that the cost of new customer acquisition is lower, and 16% have actively been able to prevent lost revenue through order error reduction. And if you want to read all of the insights and data we gathered, I strongly recommend it. It's a great piece, and you can download that resource using the link here on screen. So now we'll open the floor up to some questions from the audience. I saw that a couple already came in. So at this time, if you've had a question in mind and you didn't submit it yet, I do please encourage you to submit that. We can go over it together. So the first question I'm seeing here is, what will guarantee the return on investment if I put my money towards e-commerce? Okay, so with this one, I would say you should probably think quite critically about what has made you successful as a business offline, and then understand that your return on investment and overall success will come from giving customers all of that same service and more with e-commerce. So you want to think about going with a solution that can maintain a deep integration to the heart of your business, that being your ERP system, and that you can also evolve with you as the industry changes and your company grows. So if you can master that, your ROI is quite certainly guaranteed. And actually, if you're more of a numbers person, we have a great ROI calculator on our website, sana-commerce.com. And there you can actually enter numbers in about your own organization and your own business, and it'll help you quantify that question and give you some better answers. So hopefully that helps. The second question I'm seeing is, with everybody moving towards digitization as a first step, why would I immediately need such a robust integration for my online web store? And that's fair. I mean, that's a fair question to want to pose here, but I think it really goes back to what we were saying earlier about maintaining really a long-term vision for your online sales strategy, rather than focusing on just getting something up quickly to meet today's customer needs. We know that those needs and trends evolve, and they evolve quite quickly, and so too does your business. So what's maybe enough for someone to place an order today, that being the bare minimum, that's not going to be adequate to meet customers' growing needs and requirements. So do you really want to invest in something now where it's not going to be up to snuff maybe a week or a couple of years from now? Probably not. So third question I see here, how do I get my clients to self-serve on our site more? Oh, that's a good question. So I think in all of our years of experience, we definitely have compiled a couple tips to help people manage this a little bit better. So I think there's a variety of different ways that this can be done, and it also really depends on the industry that you're in. You know, most data would say that clients really are willing and wanting to work online, even if they're still calling in via phone. So at that point, I would look to maybe educate them on what they can do online and how it actually it improves their experience of working with your organization. So it's easier for them in the long run. If they're calling in orders, you know, we have to manually hand key those orders back to the ERP. That results in mistakes, so it takes more time. It's just not as flexible for anyone in that situation. And plus, they have to stick to the 9 to 5, Monday through Friday schedule, rather than really having a 24/7 experience. So maybe you could put together a quick educational video or email write-up going over the benefits of using a portal like that, not just for placing orders, but also self-servicing to an extent where you can view your previous invoices, pay those open invoices, and initiate returns, so RMA automation. Another thought is maybe you could run a promotion or offer a discount to get them to use that portal initially for the first time. And once they have that great experience, they won't want to use anything else, basically. So hope that helps. The next question I see here is, we're looking to switch e-commerce platforms due to a lack of functionality. What's the main feature you would suggest we look for when seeking a new provider? Okay, so though it might be tempting to go with an e-commerce provider who's flashy with the most bells and whistles, we find that for B2B companies, the number one main feature to look for is the integration of your e-commerce solution to your ERP system. And why, you might ask? Well, because that's been the heart and soul of your business, and it's how you've been able to deliver an excellent customer experience for years or decades, whatever the case may be, and what has made you so successful. So by exposing the data and functionality that's available in your ERP system, effortlessly, I might add, you reap so many benefits all around those pillars that I was mentioning earlier: the convenience, reliability, and evolution. And that's what's going to allow you to achieve ROI and business growth, as we've been mentioning today. And the last question I'm seeing, unless someone has an additional one, but the last question is, as a manufacturer, we've changed our business model to selling direct to consumer. What has your experience been with similar companies? And that's actually something I personally have been seeing a lot more of frequently. Personally, what I've noticed is that this kind of change in business model can be very beneficial in terms of generating additional revenue for the company, but it is a move that has to be done delicately, I would say. The nice thing with Sana is that you can easily open an additional web store under a different company name as you go direct to consumer. And that way you can sell all or a portion of your products to the general public, thereby expanding your customer reach and profits, but you're also not really hurting the relationship that you've worked hard to build with your existing vendors. Other cases I've noticed is if you want to take advantage of our hybrid web store approach and add an open to public side, and you might currently have a B2B portal that's closed, and so here you would go public, and here you'd have the option of selling a specific segment or selling them at list price, whereas the prices you'd see in your B2B portal are discounted based on price agreements. And actually, we have a great white paper on this topic, again, at our website, sana-commerce.com, and it's called A Guide to Direct Consumer E-commerce Sales. So that has a lot of really great research and a lot more tips and tricks if that's something that you're considering for your own business. And I wish you luck. So if that is everything for today, I want to again thank you all so much for joining us. I hope that you found the content of this webinar stirring and the recommendations actionable. If you have any questions about any of the topics that I covered today, or about how e-commerce or Sana Commerce would work within your own organization, please don't hesitate to call or email me at these options listed here on screen. I look forward to connecting with you all.
All right. Thank you,
Angie,
Alyssa.
yep.
I just want to thank everyone for joining our webinar today, or if you're watching on demand, thank you for joining us. And thank you, Alyssa, for the presentation. It was very informative.
Thank you very much, Angie. It was a pleasure.
And just to let you know, we do have more webinars coming up. Next week, next Wednesday, we have Easy Stock presenting on why inventory optimization should be your next step in supply chain digitization. And next Thursday, we have Mark Hamblin from InsightWorks, and he's going to be presenting on reduced shipping costs with an integrated solution for Business Central. So check out our website for more of our upcoming events, and that's enovia.com/events. And have you heard our podcast yet? It's called the Enovia Conversation, and we just want to encourage you to listen to our selection that our hosts, Steve Waltz and Jeff Pergolski, have provided to us. You can find out about all the different podcast platforms to listen to on our podcast page, and that's enovia.com/podcast. So check out the selection and subscribe so you'll be notified when those new episodes air. And fall is here, and that means conference time in our environment. Enovia Consulting is proud to be a premier sponsor for Community Summit, which is a virtual event coming up October 7th through the 9th. And Community Summit is the annual gathering for all NAV and Business Central users and supporters, regardless of your experience level. And it's full of great sessions to help you develop leadership skills, improve your NAV BC skills, and so much more. So check out our conference page, and that's inovia.com/conferences for more details and how you can save on your summit registration. All right. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again soon on another Inovia webinar. Have a great day, everyone.